Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Hamalerts, how to set up the triggers, a little bit of custom notifications, how to get it installed on your phone so you can not miss your favorite POTA activator or maybe DX entity. Just a quick overview on Hamalerts if you're not familiar with it. What is Hamalert? This is on the front page of their website. I'm just going to read it for you. Hamalert is a system that allows you to get notifications when a desired station appears on the DX cluster, the Reverse Beacon Network, or the RBN, SOTA Watch, which is Summits on the Air, POTA, Parks on the Air, or PSK Reporter. No need to keep checking those resources manually, looking at the spot pages and things like that. If you're looking for a certain call sign of a POTA activator, SOTA activator, or a certain DXCC, maybe a certain CQ zone, maybe an IOTA island for islands on the air, maybe a certain SOTA summit, or maybe a certain list of parks that you need to work to complete a worked all states, or maybe a worked all references in a state, Hamalerts can help you out here. You can receive alerts via push notifications, Thema, Telnet, URL get or a post. That's really advanced. We're not going to cover that in here. What we're mainly going to look at here is how to set up your triggers, how to set up your alerting, and all the options we can get. We're going to focus more on the parks on the air side, but I'll show you little tips and tricks for other things as well. So let's dive into it, and let's get to the first page that you'll see when you open hamalert.org. When you first go to hamalert.org, you're going to be presented with a login page. If you already have an account, put in your username and password here. If you do not have an account and you're setting this up for the first time, hit the register. When you go to the register page, you're going to be prompted for your email address. Do use a valid email address. Hamalert will email you a confirmation on your email, and you'll have to click a link in your email to confirm that your email address is valid. Your call sign, choose a password, confirm your password, and then you answer the secret sauce question. I don't know if this changes, but right now it's which Q code means low power in amateur radio. That's just to keep the bots out. Then you hit the blue register button down there. Keep an eye out on your email. Confirm the email by clicking the link that they send you, and then you will be ready to log in. So back at the login page, you have an account set up now. Log in with your username and password, and it will take you to your triggers page. And we'll go through this in depth. When you first open your new triggers page, you're not going to have anything here. Don't fret. I'm going to show you how to add something. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add just to look for a call sign. And right here at the very top, you'll see a plus button. Hit the plus button. It's going to bring up an edit trigger page. There's a lot of conditions that you can choose from. We're going to just focus on call sign right now. So you want to add a condition, and you want to put call sign. And you will want to put the call sign that you're looking for here. I'm just gonna make one up. I'm gonna put KK1KK. If that's your call sign and you're watching this, welcome. So KK1KK, we're gonna look for that call sign. We're not gonna have any other conditions right now. And if you do add other conditions, it says all conditions must match for this trigger to be executed. Down here in the actions, we're going to leave it as app. So when we install the app on our phone, it will send a notification to us. If you want to put any special comments down here like, hey, this is my friend Bob, and I'm waiting for him to get on the air. In case you forget who KK1KK is, you can add a comment and you will hit save. Now, somewhere in my list, it does order them. Let's go down here and find KK1KK. There it is right here, KK1KK. It added that. So right now, as it stands, for this trigger that we have added right here, if KK1KK is seen by Hamalert on any of the sources that Hamalert ingests, it's going to send you a notification on your phone once you get the app installed on your phone. That means if KK1KK is spotted on POTA, you'll get a notification. If KK1KK is spotted on SOTA, you'll get a notification. If KK1KK is seen on the reverse beacon network in any way, shape, or form, you'll get a notification. Anything that has to do with KK1KK, you will get a notification for. That's going to get spammy, and I'll explain it here in a little while. So that's just the basics of how to add a call sign of someone you are looking for. Let me show you the triggers that I have set up here and why I do it the way I do it. First, let's look at the very top one here, KE8PTX. That's my buddy PP Man up in Michigan. You'll notice I have two conditions here. I have his call sign and a source of POTA. Let me edit this. You can edit any of your triggers by clicking a little pencil icon here. So I have one call sign in here, KE8PTX, and I also have another condition called source, and that source is POTA. Now what that means is when Hamalert sees the call sign KE8PTX, it's not going to alert me unless the source comes from POTA, which means he's at a POTA park. So I'm not going to get the random alerts if somebody is, say, hunting POTA on FT8. I'm not going to get those random alerts that the reverse beacon network picked them up. If he spots at a SOTA summit, I'm not going to get that alert either. This is just for POTA. So if you want to focus on POTA, put somebody's call sign, this happens to be my buddy Mike up there, and you want to add another condition, source POTA, and make sure your actions down here is set for app. I know mine's set for URL because I do some special things with Hamalerts. Make sure the action is set for app. The app will notify you on the app on your phone. Now, let's look at James down here, KE8PZN. You notice there's two call signs here. If you edit or add a trigger, and one of your conditions is going to be call sign, you can also do a list of call signs that you want. So you can have one trigger monitor multiple call signs. You can have one trigger monitor many different things. We'll go through that in just a minute with the list of parks. James has two call signs. We have KE8PZN here, which is a US call sign, and his brand new hot off the presses as of October 8th, 2024, his Canadian call sign, Victor Alpha 3 Papa Zulu November. So I have him set in here with no other conditions. What that means is if either of these two call signs are seen by the reverse beacon network, no matter what the source is, it can come in from the RBN, it can come in POTA, SOTA, any source whatsoever that Hamalert sees these two call signs, it'll alert me because there's no other conditions. Let's look at, let's see, my buddy Bill down here in Florida, K4NYM. This is a special case, and I'm going to show you some pretty cool stuff here. Florida for me is I can't hear Bill on 20 meters at all. He's just too close. So I have special triggers set up, and I will show it to you here right now. I'm editing Bill's trigger. There's only one call sign still because Bill only has one call sign. So K4NYM. I added another condition called banned. And if you scroll through all your conditions here, you'll see all the various conditions you can add. So there's a condition called banned. And in the banned condition, you can check what bands you want to alert. And then the source is POTA. What this trigger does here is if K4NYM is seen on Hamalert, the source is POTA, and he is only on 80 meters, 60 meters, 40 meters, or 30 meters, it'll send me an alert. Because if he's on 20 meters or above, I really don't want to be alerted because chances are I'm not going to be able to work them anyway. So it cuts down on the spam. So Bill's trigger here, go back to the main screen. Bill's trigger here will only alert me if the source is coming from POTA. So he's at a POTA park, spotted at a POTA park, and he is on 80 meters, 60 meters, 40 meters, or 30 meters. So getting to a little bit more of advanced triggering and the conditions that you can use here. You'll notice most of my triggers are set up for a source of POTA. Take Joe here, for instance. Joe N3XLS does a lot of hunting on FT8. If I did not have that source of POTA in his entry for a condition, it would alert me every time that the reverse beacon network saw him send like a 73 or a Roger 73 when he's hunting FT8. I don't want all that spam. I really don't care if he's going to be hunting FT8. I care if he's at a POTA park. So that's why I put the source of POTA in the majority of my triggers. I highly recommend that you add yourself in your own Hamalert. You see right here, I have myself added with no special other conditions, only my call sign. What that's going to do, it'll send an alert to your phone when you are spotted on Hamalerts, which is really useful when you're out in a POTA park, because you'll get the alert to say, hey, okay, cool. My spot went through and people should be seeing me. Let's scroll down here to the bottom here. Here's my test for KK1KK. I'm going to delete that. So let me show you how to delete one. It's really easy. You just hit the trash can next to it and it'll say, hey, do you really want to delete the trigger? Yep, I do. Let's get into some park reference triggering. Right now, I need 15 parks in West Virginia. You can see down here. I don't care if they're on FT8 because I don't run much digital. So the triggers I have for this is a mode trigger. So it's only going to trigger me if it's on CW, SSB, or AM. The source is POTA, and I have a park reference list. Let's dive into here and take a look. Let's edit this trigger here. So one of my conditions is called mode. And that mode, I have only selected CW, SSB, and AM. There's a ton of modes here that you can select from if you want to trigger, but I'm only interested in CW, SSB, and AM for this particular trigger. The source is POTA, and that's going to make sure that this particular trigger only fires when the source is coming from parks on the air. And you're going to add another condition called park reference list. And that is under here, under your conditions. It's WWF/POTA. It's Worldwide Flora and Fauna /POTA park reference. And in the park reference list, either comma or space separated, you're going to add a list of park references which you can obtain from the Parks on the Air website that you want to alert. These happen to be the 15 parks in West Virginia that I still need to work all of West Virginia. So the way this trigger is set up right now, go back to the screen here. The way this trigger at the very bottom here is set up right now, if anybody, doesn't matter their call sign, spots on POTA, CW, SSB, or AM, and they match any of those 15 park numbers, it'll send me an alert in Hamalerts, because that's a park that I need to work. So that's a little bit more advanced on how to list parks. So let's go through and set up a new trigger for a couple of our buddies here. We're going to add a condition. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit this plus up here to add a trigger. So right now you got a blank trigger. We're going to add a condition. Call sign. We're going to add November Charlie 4 X-Ray Lima. Now, if you save it just like this, no matter what, if it sees November Charlie 4 X-Ray Lima, it's going to trigger and send an alert. Just because I'm focusing on POTA here, what I also like to do is add another condition. I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to find source. Where are you, source? There you are. Basic. It's under basic, source. And under the source, I'm going to choose POTA. Make sure my actions are the app. Check on the app. So what this trigger right here is if Dom, November Charlie 4 X-Ray Lima, spots on POTA in any park, it's going to send us an alert. Hit the save button and you'll save that trigger and get notified every time Dom spots at a POTA park. All right, we've covered triggers, I think, and let's go over to limits. Right here on your top little menu bar, you'll see a limits. Hit the limits. And you're gonna, in the blue right here, it describes it to you. Use this page to limit the number of alerts that you receive. Sometimes if somebody stays at a park for hours and hours and hours and does a very long activation, Hamalert is gonna re-alert you that they are still there, maybe even after you work them, because Hamalert doesn't know if you've already worked them or not. They just know that they're still there. The way I have my limits set up, the very top one, overall limit, 100 per 60 minutes. I do not have a per call sign limit. The per call sign limit can limit the number of alerts for the same call sign. I do not have a per call sign band and mode. The one I focus on here is per call sign frequency and mode, because I want to know if they change frequencies too, not necessarily the band. Frequency. My limits personally, I set up so you're going to alert me one time every 120 minutes. So that's 2 hours. If they're on the same frequency and mode and the same call sign. Let's just say November Charlie 4 X-Ray Lima goes out and spots on 20 meters. I'll get an alert on Hamalerts. I will not get an alert again on Hamalerts unless he changes frequency or mode, or he's on the same frequency 2 hours later. Because I don't want to be alerted every, half an hour that somebody, is on a frequency or anything like that, because you'll get spammed. So the limits page is pretty self-explanatory. The only one that I really focus on, like I said, is the one here on the very bottom. The per call sign frequency and mode is going to determine how many times you'll get notified per call sign and how often. So you can set that to every hour. You can set it to every 1 per 30 minutes if you wanted to get notified every 30 minutes that somebody was at the park on the same frequency. Now we're going to simulate a spot to make sure that our triggers are working. Up at the very top bar here, you see a menu option called Simulate. Go ahead and click Simulate, and we are going to generate a spot for Hamalert to test our triggers. I know I have a trigger in there for my own call sign that's sent to my app. So we'll put in my call sign for the full call sign. Frequency, we'll put 7044 megahertz. Mode is CW. The source is going to be POTA. The spotter call sign, we'll just use KK4KK again, random. Now, when I hit the send button, it should send an alert to my phone as a simulation to make sure that it's going to hit one of my triggers. So let's hit send and see. Spot sent successfully. There it is. I did get an alert on my phone. Now let's just change this to WD4D for the call sign. Let's send. It sent that, but I'm not going to get any kind of alert because I don't have any trigger set up for WD4D. My Hamalert doesn't know who that is. So I should not get any kind of notification for this. So that's how you simulate a spot to make sure that your triggers are working as you think they should. All right, now we're going to look at the Android app. I don't have an iOS device handy, so I can't show you the iOS side of it if you're an Apple person. But go to the Play Store or the iOS Store, whatever Apple Store you call it, and search for Hamalert by Manuel Casper. And you'll see it right here, and hit install. Once you have it installed, you will open it. You'll be at a login. Go ahead and log in with your username or password that you set up earlier. And you'll see here, the first page it opens up is a log of the spots, and you see the 2 simulated spots that I just sent. And what we're going to do here is hit the hamburger menu up here in the top left-hand corner. If you go to triggers, you will see all the triggers that you have set up, and you can add triggers here from your phone app as well, the same way. This is basically just a phone version of the website that we just looked at. So you can add triggers, you can edit triggers, you can do everything you can from the phone app that you can from the website. And you can look at your triggers. You can also set your limits. Like I said, on the website, you can do it all from the app here. Once you have the app installed, if you go to the settings of the app, you will see the sounds. So you'll want to make sure that push is turned on at the very top here, the little slider. Make sure push is turned on. That way you'll get notifications to your phone app. Set whatever sound you want, the time display in UTC or local time. If you mute a notification, how long it'll mute for. And once you have the app installed, now you're going to get Hamalert notifications on your phone when somebody spots. Well, there you go. A little quick, deep dive into Hamalerts. We went over triggering, how to set our limits, and we simulated a spot. We got the app installed on the phone and working. Hopefully, people will find this useful and how to set up your Hamalerts. I know we focused mainly on the parks on the air side of it because that's kind of my forte. So hopefully this will help you not miss your favorite POTA activator. Hopefully you won't miss a park that you need to get all the worked references in a state. Or maybe you set up a trigger for all the parks in a particular state so you can get your POTA Worked All States Award. Hopefully you found it useful. As always, guys, thumbs up if you found this video useful. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you can get notified next time I upload a video. Until next time, guys. See ya.